because you're dealing with so many different brands, so many different clients, you have a different perspective.
The quality of the internal agencies are getting stronger and stronger.
Meet Janesha and Cliff Stevens. They're agency professionals who spoke with me on the current state of in-housing. Plus, Forrester makes its CMO predictions for 2021. All that and more on episode 5 of the CMO Weekly. Hey everyone, I'm Mike Proulx and welcome to the CMO Weekly. Let's start off with a look at what's required from today's CMOs. As Forrester predicts that overall marketing spend in the US in 2022 at best will start 30% down from where it was at the end of 2019. What this means is that brands who want to grow in 2021, they need CMOs who are real leaders. Those who are willing to roll up their sleeves and think differently about growth, hacking business models, nurturing diverse teams, and finally embracing CX, customer experience, as part of the CMO's remit. Now, let's talk about agencies. Forrester says that the future agency is being shaped by technology, specifically AI and intelligent automation. Think human plus machine. This means that agencies will continue to get smaller, but smarter as a result of automating back office functions and also areas like production, creative development, and QA. While Forrester estimates an 11% agency workforce reduction by 2023 as a result of a leaner, more agile evolution, what's gained by this is a doubling down on creativity. Creative problem solving that benefits from the combination of the human spirit and machine learning. Finally, as we look to the future of agencies, we can't not talk about the whole in-housing trend. This past week, Cliff Stevens from Liberty Mutual's in-house agency and Janesha from Digitas Health, they spoke with my advertising students about this very trend. Here are some of the highlights. I'm really curious to hear from you on how advertising agencies need to change, evolve, or just revolutionize in order to remain competitive within the advertising and marketing space.
A lot of agencies are used to being like the AOR, the agency of record, and kind of having that full bandwidth across the board with their clientele. So you're kind of like forced to adjust in order to survive that type of thing. Clients are working with different type of agencies now. They're having more agencies on their roster than just having one sole agency. So you have to like work with these different partners in order to succeed and meet the client's needs.
The reality is there's a lot of trends that are happening. And one of those trends is the fact that external agencies have been deemed a little bit more on the expensive side, right? So brands who are trying to be expense conscious or thinking about their business or thinking about how do they grow their in-house capabilities, can I attract that talent into my brand and do the same exact thing that I was doing externally? Can I have them be close to the brand so I can reveal more information? Can I give them sales data? Can I give them more insights or consumer insights that they might not have access to on the external side? And as the work is good. And if the work is good, that's going to be something that's real where internal agencies are really going to start to rise. The cycle of what we're seeing right now between external and internal is based on talent and talent mobility. And where that talent goes is your richest asset, right? So if you got great people and you can pull them in-house, that's what's going to happen. If external agencies start to change their model and realize that that's going to be something that they're going to do, you're going to see this, return and re-rise of the external agencies at that moment in time.
What are the unique superpowers, or what's the unique superpower of external advertising agencies that can make them less vulnerable to the threat of in-housing?
I believe that external agencies, because you're dealing with so many different brands, so many different clients, you have a different perspective. I think a lot of times within in-house agencies, you're working on this one client, so you kind of can get burnt out, or you don't really think about the different angles that you can attack something strategically or creatively. So I think that within these external agencies, you might have a category where you have the same, kind of client, but they might be using different channels or have a different audience. So you have that superpower to be able to know, the different angles of how you can address a problem and have those fresh and creative ideas. You could be working on one client and be like, this could be really good for another client. So you're always bringing that knowledge and those ideas and working with those different type of teams to the new clientele. So in-house, you just don't have, because you're only working on that one client.
How do external agencies and internal agencies complement one another through the brand's point of view?
It depends on the brand, right? It depends on the brand and the scale. So insurance and financial services usually have larger budgets depending on their position in the marketplace. If you get a smaller brand, they might not need a roster of different partners. They might either go in-house, or they might just need just an external partner to help them with that work. I think it depends on the size and scale and the value of what each team can bring. It actually is a nice thing that there's both external and internal at this point, and the quality of the internal agencies are getting stronger and stronger.
We've just talked about some of the threats to external agencies, the big consultancies, the margin pressures, the in-housing trend that's happening. To what degree are you feeling it with the agencies that you've worked at and are working at?
It's literally our job to be ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
And to provide those answers and solutions to a client. You have to keep up or you won't be competition, it's literally your job to make sure you're on top of everything and ahead of the game, 10 steps ahead, so you can present to the client and have these solutions for the client so they can be ahead of the curve as well.
It starts with mindset, and I think both external and internal agencies are currently in this mindset, and that mindset is continuous improvement and optimization. I think the external agencies are 100% around. They're going to stay around. I think they're going to evolve, and they're going to take different formats. And then as soon as external agencies start to think about their margins differently, or refocus their efforts, or figure out, the nature of project work and sort of the overhead and their sort of financials, the external agencies will grow again.
So, my fellow marketers, if you think 2020 was quite a year, well, fasten your seatbelts for 2021. On behalf of the CMO Weekly, I'm Mike Proulx, and thanks so much for tuning in. If you liked this episode, then give it a like, and please help spread the word by sharing it with your colleagues. And I will see you next Sunday evening for episode 6.